All right. Hey, everyone. Long time no see. Welcome to TokiTV, our gathering each and every week in Scally Checked Us Legacy. Um, it's been a minute since we've been on. There's been a lot going on in my world anyway, and I apologize for that. But I'm really happy to be back with everyone and some really great guests today, who we will get to in just a little bit. It's also been it's been a little bit of a sad week. There's kind of been it's been a little bit of a sad week with Jane Goodall powerfully moving on, and I know will continue to make a difference from the other side. So we'll take a moment to honor Jane today as well. But let's check in real quick. Deb Cruz, I've missed you. How are you?
I've missed you too. I felt like coming home. Life is interesting. That's all I can say at this point. It's just been a major roller coaster, up and down, and in and out, and all around. So glad to be here. Glad to see you guys. Howard, you too.
Good, Howard. What's going on over there, and what's going on with the whales?
Yeah, well, life just continues to throw curveballs and all sorts of things happening. Um, I've been over to the Balcom Big Salmon Ranch for a while. We greeted a family of visitors and saw some fish. That was the highlight, was seeing lots of pink salmon. This is a pink year, so there's a huge influx of pink salmon spawning right there in the Elwha River, and some Chinook were right with them. So that was really good to see, and we're very anxious to get started with the side channel project that is going to actually build a side channel in a place where there was one in geologic time. So it'll be to sort of to rebuild that and create hundreds of spawning reds. The availability of just the right sand and gravel for the salmon to come in and spawn. So we're looking forward to that. And the whales have not been around. We haven't seen any of either transient or residents in Puget Sound since September 28th. They've been out in Strait of Georgia and Juan de Fuca a few times, but not a lot. It's a strange scarcity of orcas around here. But into the breach is Malachite, the humpback, that has been down off the south end of Vashon Island and around into Commencement Bay, into the urban waters of Tacoma and Point Defiance, and even down below the Narrows Bridge, and just delighting everybody, including ferry passengers, because the ferry has to stop. And so everybody gets a good look. Malachite has been the star whale for the last week or so down there. Otherwise, it's a beautiful day. Sunshine and blue sky. We thought it'd be rainy all week, but no, it's quite nice.
We haven't been on for a little bit. So there is a confirmation of J64. Is that correct? There is a new baby. Is there?
Right. No, J64 was born probably on September 18th, seen that day. And from, Grandma J16 and Big Brother J26, Mike, and J42, who is the mom. So now with the baby, that's just a little family of four. And they were with J-Pod for that day. They were nearby. They weren't really with them. They traveled completely separately. And in fact, they went up into, most of J-Pod went way up into Saratoga Passage up by Penn Cove and then back down, while the J16s, as we call them, with the new baby, sort of stayed a couple of miles away. And then they went south, and all of J-Pod went and this was unheard of, at least for the last 4 or 5 decades, that J-pod went deep into the southern reaches of Puget Sound, down near Olympia, Bud Inlet, Fox Island. I mean, I don't know the topography that well down there, but into, those inner inlets. Spent a couple of days there, but the J-16s with the new baby did not go down there with them. They stayed separate on the north end of Vashon Island, fairly near Seattle, and they're just taking care of the baby. They're just, as far as I can tell. I mean, that's the big difference is they've got a baby, and the rest of J-pod didn't. J-63 was born in April, but he or she is, keeping up and a regular family member now, so he went with them down into the South Sound. But the brand new baby stayed with the mom and grandma and big brother. So that was really interesting, I thought. But they disappeared. They went out Admiralty and have not been seen since. So hopefully they're out at the west end of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, out on Swiftsure Bank, which is sort of an elevated area that causes all the currents to well upward to bring all those bottom waters up into the sunlit areas where the photosynthesis can happen. So there's all kinds of phytoplankton, the tiny little, actually the foundation of life on Earth. And when it hits the sunlight, it sparks into food for all kinds of great, every animal, for every bird and fish and whale that's out there. So that attracts the fish and therefore the orcas. And so that is where southern residents have been, pretty much. I mean, we don't know for sure because there's almost no field research. There was a trip out there in early September by Center for Whale Research for a couple of days, but otherwise there's really nobody out there to check up on them. But the assumption is, and from past information, is that they're pretty much right there, right on the west end of Strait of Juan de Fuca, at the mouth of it where it meets the Pacific Ocean, or along the continental shelf and down to the mouth of the Columbia River to pick up on all the Columbia Basin Fall Chinook. So I assume that they're sort of going back and forth, or maybe just staying on Swiftsure Bank. I'm not sure. But they're out there, and hopefully they're getting lots of food. There was no reports of any looking, bad in any way. So they're apparently doing okay out there. I don't know. Yeah, we hope that.
She's asking about the baby that was lost, the one that passed.
Oh, right. Born September 12th and did not survive at all. Maybe didn't survive the birth. So that was J36's baby, and she carried the baby around for the rest of that day, but the next day was seen without the baby. So, that's no doubt a tragedy. Hi, Marcia.
Your volume is no bueno today.
Your audio not working.
You might have to hop off and back on. I'll mute for now. So Marcia's with us. Yay, Marcia. I miss you a lot, and I can't wait to see you soon. And hopefully we get your audio going pretty good, because at the end I would like you to tell us more about what's coming up there in Seattle on the 18th. Before we get to our guests, if it's okay, and I'm sure our guests don't mind, I'd like to take a moment to honor Jane Goodall, and I don't know how to possibly honor the greatness that she is and will carry on to be. But I would like us to come together to honor the life of Dr. Jane Goodall. She taught us that hope is never lost. that compassion can guide science, and that every single person, no matter how young or small, has the power to make a difference. Her love for animals and our planet wasn't just about protecting them. It was about inspiring us to care deeply, to act with courage, and to pass that spirit on to the next generation. Jane often reminded us that young people are the change makers, the protectors, the educators who will carry forward the work of building a better world. As we take this moment of silence, let us not only reflect on her incredible legacy, but also feel her presence in our hearts, reminding us that even in the quiet, there is strength, and even in the smallest of actions, there is hope. Please take 30 seconds in silence with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette.
Yeah. Dr. Goodall, hope was the key message. When we lose hope, we stop trying, and we have to keep trying. And I know in her Roots and Shoots program, she says we can and we will. And there's so many people, young people, that will continue to continue on the work that she, pioneered for so many. And in talking about inspiring the younger generation, today we have with us Emma and Annie Stafki. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Ages 21 and 16. They are the dynamic sister duo behind Two Girls Take on the World. With a fresh, youthful perspective and a deep commitment to environmental advocacy, they've quickly emerged as bold voices in documentary filmmaking. Their debut film, Echoes of the Sound, which they researched, shot, directed, and edited entirely on their own, has garnered critical acclaim, winning 10 awards across the country. Echoes of the Sound goes beyond traditional storytelling. It's a powerful call to action. Developed while Emma pursued her degree at Pacific Lutheran University and Annie attended Peninsula High School, the film challenges audiences to confront pressing environmental crises and inspires lasting change. With beautiful visuals and an urgent message, the sisters' passion for filmmaking and environmental justice drives their work, positioning them as emerging leaders of a new generation of filmmakers. Looking ahead, Emma and Annie aim to continue pushing the boundaries of environmental storytelling and using their craft to spark global impact. So everybody welcome Emma and Annie to the show. And I muted you guys, so let me unmute you. And there we go. Thank you for being with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for that lovely introduction. We're really excited to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm Annie, and this is Emma.
Yes. Annie, Emma. Oh, we have our name in the wrong order on our thing.
Oh, well.
It's okay. Sometimes it's mirrored, sometimes it's not. Echoes of the Sound. Should we start there?
Sure, yeah.
What inspired? Well, maybe we have to go back a little bit because you both are so very young. When did you decide, like, hey, we're gonna do something, and how? Just tell us how that formulated. How'd that happen?
Yeah, well, we started not documentary, but we started filmmaking when we were both I was in middle school, she was in elementary school, and we entered in our first Gig Harbor Film Festival, and we really just fell in love with filmmaking. At that time, we were just making like goofy, silly little videos, and then we just continued doing that just for fun, and it was just something we liked to do together. And then when I went to college, I went to Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, and I needed to make a podcast for a class, and it was supposed to be about an untold story. And Annie and I, we do everything together.
Yeah.
And so I asked Annie to help me with that project, and we had the perfect untold story because our grandparents back in 1968 witnessed the capture of Hugo, a southern resident orca from the El Pod in Vaughan Bay. And it really was a story that we couldn't find anywhere. There was very few mentions of him. Like if you Googled it, you could find a few things, but it was really a pretty untold story. And so we made that podcast. And then afterwards, we had always wanted to make a more serious film, and it kind of fell into place where, yeah.
I think that story just gave us the perfect kind of starting point to make documentaries. And so we just jumped on the opportunity to tell Hugo's story.
Yeah. And then we've since then just gotten very invested in the southern resident orcas and keep on working to support. Yeah.
That is really cool. And I know there's some pretty cool people interviewed in your documentary. One who you see on the screen here. And I'm just really happy like that you guys chose Hugo, because we talked about this recently. Gosh, it was a couple of years ago, I think, on TokiTV, and we were saying we really need to, we had a whole episode dedicated to Hugo and kind of the untold story of Hugo. And so for you guys to make a whole film surrounding him and his life, I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate that someone took the time to be able to do that for him, because he really his story needs telling. And so thank you guys for taking that on, really. And did you say you started in middle school and elementary school? Like, you know what I was doing in elementary school? I mean, you know what I mean? It wasn't bad.
That's when we started our first they were really goofy little iPhone shot videos. But we had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I and not to give too much away, because I want to talk about this a little bit too, but Netflix did an interview with Dr. Jane. And if you guys haven't seen it, that's probably what you should do this afternoon. It's 55 minutes. It's not long, but it's really powerful. And they filmed it in May of this year. And it was with the intention that it would not be shown until she passed. I mean, she's 91. She knew, but so to watch it now after she's passed, knowing that she did the interview prior to, one of the things that she said, she always knew, right? Like she always knew what her calling was. So, and it kind of sounds like you guys also kind of know what your calling is, what you're called to do.
Yeah, I definitely think that things kind of fell in place for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad we were able to find this. Yeah.
Tell us about the making of the film. Like, I'm sure you learned tons, so you probably had to manage your own like emotions around it whilst trying to tell us what that was like. Maybe each of you can tell us what that was like for you individually, just in making the film and learning everything about the Southern residents.
Yeah, the start of the filmmaking process was just a lot of research. We had to research all about Hugo and lots of the Southern residents, and we had to find, what people we wanted to interview and kind of how we wanted to put this story together. I think our first interview was just our grandparents, and we kind of had them just tell us the story again and everything so that we could figure out how we wanted to put it together. It definitely was really emotional. We'd heard the story of Hugo from our grandparents before, but I think it was really sad, so it was hard for them to tell. And it was honestly hard for us to hear because it was just so devastating, and how in the film they talk a little bit about how they could just hear the orcas calling to one another, and it really just felt like their baby was being ripped away from them, and it was really emotional. And so I think making the film, it was definitely really hard because we had to watch all the footage, hear the story, know the story really well. It was very devastating, but it was also really it felt good to be able to share his story and have others hear it. We started I think from start to end, between researching and then the end product, probably took us around 1.5 years. Do you think maybe 2 years to make the whole film?
About 1.5 years, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I feel like we also just learned so much because we had heard the story, but we hadn't like there was so much more that we had to learn about Hugo and his story. We didn't know, we only knew my grandparents' side of it. And as we did more and more research, we learned about, where he was in captivity and his whole story from there. And so the entire thing was a learning curve from start to finish. Like our grandparents, our first interview we did for them, we ended up refilming because we had learned so much more just about cameras and audio. And so we wanted to make sure that it matched the rest of the quality of the documentary. And so there's just a learning curve from start to end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how'd you find all these cool experts like Howard Garrett and Raynell and all these other folks?
Yeah, lots of hours and hours and hours of research. Learning about which direction we wanted to take the story was like the first part. And then being able to then find the people who could tell that story along the way. And we found Howard from I think the Orca Network. And we're like, oh yeah, obviously he's a great person to tell the story of the Southern residents. So we were so excited that we were able to interview Howard. And then Rico Berry, that one was we had heard about Rico Berry from actually Jason Colby, who was the author of the book Orca, and we ended up getting him for our interview. We found his phone number online, and we called him up and told him a little bit about who we were, and he was super excited to help too. So that was how we found Rick.
He was someone who worked kind of a caretaker of Hugo
Mhm.
when he was at Miami Seaquarium.
Yeah. And then it was very important to us that we find an Indigenous perspective. And Raynell has just been such an advocate for Skelly Chectonaut that she was the perfect person to talk about Hugo as well, because they were tank mates. And so she was fantastic. But it was just lots of research.
Yeah,
to
hours
find
of research, just
people.
finding who we wanted to interview. And it was amazing because I think pretty much everyone that we contacted agreed to interview with us, which we thought was just amazing because, no one really knew who we were. They just wanted, I think, to help the Southern residents. So
Yeah,
we were so lucky to have
Orca
them.
community is a really amazing community of just awesome, supportive, wonderful people.
It really is a big family, and I think that everyone who loves the orcas, and especially our Southern residents, wants their story to be heard by as many people as possible, because the more people that learn, the more people that will do something, right? And more people that will help. So it's definitely a passionate community. Howard, what were your thoughts when you got contacted?
To me,
Yeah.
well, I thought finally someone is shining a light on Hugo. We just knew so little about him. Just from the records, the date of capture and then the date of that he died, basically, and there's 10 years in between, and even the whole details of the capture, the feeling of it. Finally, we heard from Emma and Annie's grandparents how it actually happened, how it felt from someone watching it, and that needs to be told. Did I send you still photos of the time that the veterinarian Jesse White sewed the tip of Hugo's rostrum back on after he ripped it? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Did we? I don't think we saw that.
I probably had that. Well, anyway, the only other thing that I knew about him was from the daughter of the veterinarian that took care of him, Jesse White's daughter. And she sent me a couple of pictures from after Hugo smashed into the, I've heard 5-inch thick plexiglass viewing kind of, bubble window, and broke it. And in the process, nearly severed the tip of his rostrum, So it was kind of, dangling by a thread. So Dr. White, put on the diving gear and went under there with needle and thread and sewed his rostrum back on. And it held, it healed in place. And so there's a picture of him kind of inspecting his work to make sure that it was healing okay. And there's Toki, within about 2 feet, just checking it out, just looking at progress, watching what was going on, just really interested, of course. And, that to me sort of spoke volumes about Hugo's character, his patience, to be operated on, no anesthesia, and to be completely cooperative throughout all of it. So he's really a good soul, I mean, he was really like Toki, like Scully Chuktanat, warm and inviting and engaging and interested in everyone and everything going on around. But he just couldn't handle the conditions of captivity.
Yeah, that is a very powerful story as well.
Yeah.
So sad all that they went through.
Yeah. And as sad as it is, we all know we can't heal what we can't acknowledge, right? So people need to see it. The film right now is in the film festival circuit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Our next one is Tacoma Film Festival, I believe on October 13th.
Yeah, so coming up. So yeah, if anyone's interested, Tacoma Film Festival at, I think it might be at 7 p.m., but definitely if anybody wants to go see it, you should double check on their website.
In Tacoma? And I was just going to ask you about that, the website. So is there a place that folks can go? I'm assuming you guys have socials because you're young and hip and everyone has those social media things that I can't follow. I have them, Instagram and Snapchat, because my kid made me open one a long time ago, but I don't really mess with them too much. But where can we go to follow this film to see where it'll be showing? How do we follow along?
Yeah, a couple of different places that we try to update, which we need to do a little bit of a better job at updating. But we have our website, which is myactionscount.org. And that is where we have a blog that we have somewhat updated. We will post an update about our film festival stuff. But we have a blog on there, as well as just some other good resources about the Southern Resident Orcas. And then we also have our Instagram, which is 2 Girls Take on the World with underscores between every word.
Yeah, and you can find more updates
on there too.
Very, very cool. And Scott Lett just sent me a picture of you guys at the Colorado Environmental Film Festival. So it also showed over there, huh?
Yeah, that one was really fun to get to go to. And the other documentary that won there was also about the Southern Resident Orcas, which was so cool. There are 2 winning films about the Southern Resident Orcas in Colorado.
Really, really great. And yeah, Snake and the Whale, we're following that, and that website has been updated with everywhere that film is going to be shown. But Tacoma, that's around the corner, and that's where a lot of folks who are watching nearby enough, I think, that people could go and see. What's the plan for the film? It'll go through, because just to try to follow along, like it goes through a certain circuit and then it can get released or bought. What's the hope for this film?
Yeah, well, we have been in the film festival circuit for about a year and been traveling to a bunch of different film festivals, and the film's been all over the place. And now we have a couple more we're waiting to hear from. So it'll probably kind of go through this next year. Maybe we can we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with it next, if we can get some kind of distribution, and what that will look like. We're not quite sure yet, but probably maybe around next summer, next fall is when it will be done with the film festival circuit.
Yeah, and hopefully open to just the general public.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been my my hope, you know, that these films, it's good because you're reaching a lot of folks in the circuit, but these things need to be seen far and wide by as many people as possible. There's a lot of work to do with the dams, and we all know what we're up against right now with this administration. And I think climate change, and there's just so much, and people get inspired. You'd be surprised by what thing someone hears in a film, even if it's just a sentence, you know, that inspires someone to do something to make a difference. So again, thank you guys for creating an avenue for that, for change and for hope. Yeah, I know you guys have a couple things we can share, right? Do you want me to show the slideshow or what, photos, and you walk us through it? Do you want to show video? What do you want to do?
Well, we can, we have a clip we can share from it.
Awesome.
Which is the clip where our grandparents, as well as Ken Gormley, who is another witness to the capture, are talking. They talk through the whole entire capture. And that's about 10 minutes. We can show that, or we can just show some of that. You guys think?
It's new to us. I'd like to see
Show it.
All right, sounds good. Hopefully the quality will look all right. So let us know if like you can hear it okay.
Okay.
But it should be good. 1 second and we'll pull that up. Okay. Share screen. Okay. Can you see this all right?
Let
Hang on.
me add it. You got it, Deb Cruz? All right.
Okay, you can see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then let us know if you can't hear anything, but hopefully you should be able to hear something.
For the story of how it all began, let's go back to 1968. That day, Hugo was found in the cold waters of America's Pacific Northwest coast. It was a dangerous challenge to take a giant, ferocious whale alive and unhurt.
Hugo was caught in February 1968. It's the period of really the high point of these captures. Like a lot of the captures that take place, especially in Puget Sound, it takes place in the public eye, right, in front of spectators.
In early 1968, John and I had an incredible experience close up with the orcas.
As we were walking down on the beach, people were telling us about what was happening. They were excited.
We'd all been aware that people had started capturing orcas.
This was a big moment. These whales were going to be captured and put into places like SeaWorld.
We had a little boat with a 5-horse motor, and it was okay with my parents. I went out there and spent a lot of time just tied up to the dock and watching them capture the whales. And it was at times a little intimidating because they're pretty big and they were jumping out of the water and swimming around not very far away from me.
It was fun at the very beginning. And then we began to see what was happening.
I remember having mixed feelings about the whole thing. Okay, you got to remember, I was in 5th grade, so I had no insightful moral judgment about it. But I remember just being kind of, this is weird and bothersome.
They had the bay closed off with nets so that none of the orcas could escape.
There's a channel, not too long, a sandspit in a channel, and they stretched the cable across there and they hung chains down from the cable to keep the whales from leaving the bay.
Lots of big boats were around. They looked like fishing boats to us. But in the bay, they had constructed nets, kind of pens that floated.
And they encircled them all with a big net and gradually contracted the net in size until they got them into a fairly small contained area. They actually lassoed the orcas. They had a long pole with a frame, and lightly tied to it was a rope. And they'd put that in the water, and the scuba divers would try to direct one of the juveniles headfirst into that lasso.
They did not try to attack any of these boats or the divers.
And once they got it on the juvenile, they pulled it all tight to kind of pull it into the dock, and then the scuba divers wrapped it up with more ropes. They caught 2 of them doing it that way.
By the time we saw them, they had captured 2 whales.
They had them lashed onto the side of this fishing boat, one on either side in nets in the water. And the fishing boat left and the entire pod followed the boat. There was a lot of noise coming from them, and I envisioned it and felt like they were really upset and in my mind crying.
Andrea and I began to feel this really deep emotion because we could hear the younger whales call, eking out some sort of sound that really just penetrated your soul.
The rest of the orcas were swimming close by and calling to them. And you could tell that they were really distressed. But what really struck us was the vocalizations that were going back and forth between all the whales. We started to feel really upset by what we were seeing. And they were a family. All they were trying to do was support their family.
They were hurting. And this was not a fun experience. It changed. It was all of a sudden an experience that you didn't want to be involved in. You didn't want to be part of.
They opened up the opening to the bay so the other orcas could swim out, and they towed them out. But the other orcas didn't try to swim away.
And then eventually they followed this boat out and went down Case Inlet.
The entire pod just followed the boat, and I'm assuming probably for quite a distance. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was all the way to the destination, wherever that was.
They stayed grouped together and continued to support each other all the way. We could hear their cries as they were towed off, and all the others were around them, calling back and forth to each other.
Hearing the eking and the crying, it was just piercing. Right to this day, right now, that I can still hear them. I can still hear their eek and their cries. And they were so very real. They were just incredibly real.
They all followed right there with the fishing boat, as far as I could see.
It just broke your heart. It was very, very emotional. And I'll never forget that.
It's an indelible image in my brain that I will never forget the entire experience and never forget the impression that I had that they were upset.
And I just walked down the beach all this time in a trance. That trance changed me forever because I can't forget about it. That memory always comes back.
With Hugo isolated in the holding pen, the real job began. Moving him safely the 4,000 miles from Seattle to Miami. First, the medication to relax him so he will not injure himself. Ever try to get a whale to take his medicine? Hugo could take both doctor and medicine in one gulp. Loaded in a custom-made sling, Hugo's put aboard a chartered, specially outfitted plane for the long trip to Miami. He's wrapped in cloth in order to retain moisture and constantly coated with cold seawater to protect his skin. On the way, he's watched continually by a team of specialists, alert for any signs of trouble.
Hugo himself.
All right, so that was, did we, are we still sharing? Oh, it's just us. Oh, there we are.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
I'm still in the impact of some of that. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Thank you for sharing part of that film.
Yeah.
I can see people's reactions. You guys can't, but I can see other people's reactions. And Deb Cruz, I don't know if there's anything you want to say. No. Okay. Yeah. It just from that clip. I mean, I know we hear it all the time. We say it all the time. We know about the captures. We talk about it. We have people on here. But it never gets easier to see, watch, or hear about because everyone has a very similar experience about the haunting, the cries, you know, and I've heard other people say that too. Like it's something that it hits your soul and it'll never leave, you know. Just wow.
Yeah, and that's why it was amazing to be able to find some actual audio from the captures. So I remember the first time like I saw that and heard that video, I was just like overwhelmed. It's very powerful that we were able to find that. But Annie really found pretty much all of our historical footage. She was really good at finding all that. So what you saw was a little bit of a mix of a couple of two different captures, because we were able to find about 15 seconds of Hugo's actual capture. So that is mixed in there. And then some of that is also from the Pen Cove capture, which is where we were able to get the audio from.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Marcia, you had your hand up.
Okay, I just want to thank you both for shining light on Hugo. You know, right now the Seaquarium is being purchased by a developer and all of that stuff, and I'm really trying to get a plaque or something for both Tokite and Hugo placed there for the two of them, so his memory at least will be somehow portrayed there. But when I left there back in, the mid 90s, I stole this book, and it's one of his record books from, 1972. And I just sort of grabbed it. I'd love to share it with you guys if you ever want to see it. Apparently the trainers had a hard time with him in a lot of cases. He wasn't a very easygoing guy. He did not do well in captivity. And I don't blame him for any of that. And so I'd like to share this with you guys if you ever would like to take a look at it. It tells him, his water quality was probably not very good, and the temperature was in the 70s most of the time. So that guy, he suffered the time that he was there, and it's a super sad story all the way around. And I know it wasn't easy for either of you to do, and I just want to pass my gratitude to you for keeping his memory alive. I rescued a dog recently, and I named him after Hugo. So thank you for what you've done. I appreciate you both.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we'd love to see that.
Yeah, we definitely would. That would be.
Hugo definitely had a very difficult time in captivity. And one thing that later is said in our documentary too is about how before Rick O'Barry came in, he had already left the Miami Seaquarium, and that one of the trainers had a scare. And so then that's why they called him back in. And he refused to do shows, but he was just a caretaker for Hugo because he could just see how much pain he was in. And so I think having Rick O'Barry there for Hugo was probably somewhat of a relief, because he was a great caretaker for him and played him music and all sorts of things. But you'll have to see the documentary where he talks about it more specifically. Yeah.
I wonder where are you guys located? How close are you to Seattle?
About maybe an hour
about
drive
an hour away from Seattle.
Well, I don't know, Marcia, if you'd be willing to bring that book with you, but we're going to be out there here in a couple of weeks. Marcia, do you want to tell us just a little bit about that? Maybe Emma and Annie would like to come.
Sure, thank you, Annette. So we're, myself and Orca Network is helping out with this. Thank you so much, Howard, and the American Cetacean Society of Puget Sound, along with a composer named Frederick West out of Seattle. And we're doing what's called an Orca Cantata, and it's on October 18th. And Annette, I don't know if you have that flyer handy. You could pop it up in the comments or something. At the address, it's 7500 Greenwood, I think, off the top of my head. But at any rate, it's really a collection of just original music that Fred has composed to highlight Tokite, all the southern residents, basically all the orcas up there, and beautiful choral music. And I'm going to read some of my book and do some storytelling about Tokite, and a book signing. All the profits go to Orca Network and the American Cetacean Society for books, and just to raise awareness for the southern residents. So if you guys can come, I will pack this book and I will gift it to you. It's been in my library for decades now, so I'm happy to pass it on, and maybe just as a little thank you to you both for doing that. So if you can make it to the cantata, that would be wonderful. I'd love to meet you both.
Yeah, that would be great. We would love to go.
We would, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. That
And
sounds
I'm-
like an amazing, yeah.
Well, and I want to share this with folks because I want other people to be able to see this as well. And girls, I'll send you directly the info, but let's see if you guys can see this here. So if you guys go to, what's the name of this? Zeffy.com. So www.zeffy, which is ZEFFY.com. And this is here where it talks about it. There's a fundraiser. You can get tickets here, so you can go in person. But this is where it'll be, and there's the address there, 7500 Greenwood Avenue. Like you said, 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. And we'll all be out there. Let's see if I make it bigger, just for those. If you want to take a screenshot, everybody, go ahead, take a second, take a screenshot of the page there. All right, and TokiTV will be there, and we'll be live streaming the event as well. But of course, it's always better to hug people in person. So look forward to meeting you girls there. I think it would be really cool if you come. And Marcia, that's an incredibly generous gift, because I'm sure the information in there, as you know, I mean, we're lucky we have Marcia, so we were able to hear lots of stories about Toki. And you know, when someone passes on in our life that we're close to, whether we've met them or not, it's always helpful to keep the memory alive just by acknowledging their life, sad and powerful, and all the stages that his life was. So be able to share that and honor that. So that was really cool of you, Marcia.
That's really incredible.
Really, really cool. Howard, you won't be there. You're going to be watching the salmon or something, right?
Well, no, I'm planning on it.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you were going to be somewhere else that
Well,
week.
it's going to be tight because the next day I'm supposed to go to Orcas Island for a film festival there for The Snake and the Whale.
Yeah.
But I'll be able to get back and then hop a boat the next morning for Orcas Island. So I should be able to do that. So yeah, I'll get a table together and yeah, looking forward.
That's awesome.
It'll be fun. So you're going to be there too, Annette?
I am. I'll be there. Alma will be there. Brandy, Dee, we're all coming in for that. So yay, I get to see you, Howard.
Fantastic. Right.
Very, very
Well,
cool.
I just keyed it into my map, so I'll be able to find it. I mean, I've been in the neighborhood. That's the Finney neighborhood. That's where, in fact, I've probably been to the same building because I've given a talk at the ACS meeting at that building. So,
Awesome.
but this is at a church, right? So, yeah. So,
Well, and folks who, sorry, my daughter's texting me about football because we're not happy right now, but she's texting me some of the, anyway, sorry. If you hear the background dinging, it's those text messages coming in. I hope that, Deb Cruz, I don't know if you'd be able to come down, Scott, thank you. Scott Levy just texted me and said the Zeffy site says October 18th in the text, but higher on the page it says the 19th. So it is the 18th, folks. So make sure that you know that it is Saturday, the 18th. So if you share that around, make sure you share that it's Saturday, the 18th. And then Deb Cruz, what I was going to say is I don't know if you can come for that, but that week we will live stream that night from there instead of the next day on the 19th. Not to confuse anyone. That's when we'll be heading over to the island. So we'll take a break from TokiTV on that Sunday, but we will instead have it on Saturday night, the 18th. So I don't know if you can help there from your fancy magical office, Deb Cruz, or come join us if you can. That would be fun. Thanks, Marcia, for sharing that. Is there anything else you want to say about that? No?
No, I mean, I think I just want to share that I hope we have a lot of attendance and a lot of people, and just, spread it out. Even if you can't make it, please share that link. Anything we can do to just keep the orcas in people's minds all the time. That's our goal. So, and if we get a good attendance this time, Fred West is such a talented guy. He really wants to make this the first of many cantatas. And so based on this year, hopefully we can do this, every year, or maybe more than once a year. And so let's get this first one rolling really well. That's sort of the goal.
All right. That's very awesome. I'm trying to mute. I'm having to play with I have to mute you, Marcia, and have us on, and then I have to mute us when you're on. So I don't know what's going on. But so Emma and Annie, what advice do you have for folks? What are some final things you want to share with people who are watching? You guys are truly an inspiration. You were doing this since you were very young. It just shows, like Jane Goodall says, you have those people that support your passion, right? Like for her, it was her mom. You guys have each other. I'm sure there are other people, but it's your opportunity to give anyone a shout out if you want, for those that helped you guys along the way. Because we can't do these things alone, right? You had to have support somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, yeah, we support each other a lot. We couldn't have done it by ourselves. So I'm so glad that we think so much alike that we work really well together.
We definitely do. And also, our grandparents were in the video, and they helped us throughout the whole process. And our mom too, she's a great storyteller. She really helped us figure out how to put this story together. So we definitely have had a lot of support.
Yeah.
I think
our entire
great.
family has always been so supportive of our filmmaking, and we have a very family that loves creativity of all sorts. And so they've just been so supportive for this whole journey. It's been really amazing. And the orca community too, like we said before, just a really loving and supportive group of people. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey so far, and yeah, we're not done yet.
That's what I'm counting on. You guys got more to do. This is just a quick snapshot for those at home to see their website. But again, it's myactionscount.org. And talks, has action and advocacy tab, resources and info, information about the film, and then the blog. So, and a little bit about them. These are some great photos. You guys are absolutely adorable. I'm so glad you have each other. It's nice to have family, but not all of us get to have the family that support and have the same passions as we do. So I'm really glad that you guys have that. And I have no doubt that you will do a lot more in your filmmaking future to make a difference for the earth and planet. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course. And if it's all right with you, we have the next thing that we're coming up on that we'd love to share with you. Yeah. So as of yesterday, Annie and I are starting a new campaign, a social media campaign. Where do you want to tell?
Yeah, well, for this, we started yesterday. We're going to be swimming every single day for the next year, and we're going to be posting about it on social media and sharing different facts and information about the Southern Residents. And our hope is that this kind of keeps people engaged in talking about the Southern Residents, and we'll have posts every day. So hopefully that will help.
And so we're trying to bring about the information about the Southern Residents in a new way. So we're trying to keep it just super light in that we're doing this challenge, and we are laughing the entire time, but we are also then sharing information about the Southern Resident orcas. We're trying to, get people to not just scroll past and keeping it fun and light, but then also sneak in that education. So in that way, they're staying in the conversation. And then hopefully maybe even raise some donations too for the Southern Residents and the Orca Network.
Is that going to be on your website, or what social media? Where should people go to follow?
We'll be on our Instagram and our Facebook. And we're posting the first one tonight, where we did our first swim yesterday, and we're going to post the videos the day after every single swim. And then,
Yeah, we're gonna do
Yeah.
that hopefully so that we can post at a more consistent time every day.
yeah. So yeah, follow along if you want to see us jumping in the cold water every single day. It's primarily in the Puget Sound. Yeah.
What's the Instagram? Like, how do we
It's Two Girls Take on the World with underscores between each word. And then let me see if I can figure out what our Facebook is called. Let me see. I think our Facebook is just Two Girls Take on the World. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna look that up and definitely follow you guys on both. Like I said, I'm not super active on Instagram, but you'll see a TokiTV following you by the end of today.
Awesome. And we have our socials linked to our website as well. So
Oh, awesome. So I could just get it from there. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that kind of brings us to our hour. We didn't get to any of the photos on your but we can. I mean, I'm not opposed to going a little bit over. I don't know if you guys are. Can we share some of those photos? Just because there's some pictures of you guys when you're little, and it's really cute. Nice.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right, let me find that here. I have to press like 1,000 buttons to get them going. Okay, so maybe you could just kind of walk me through it. We'll leave it small, but you could just kind of walk me through some of these.
Well, this was a picture that we took fairly recently of, we believe this is Jack, so one of the big orcas, and that was a really cool experience. We saw him this summer, and then that was shot on my big zoom lens, and it was just a really incredible experience. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This is us. This is one of our first films. It was I think I'm probably in 3rd grade, do you think?
Yeah,
and Emma's in
7
8th
or something.
Yeah, and this was just a silly video we made for our family. It was called Princess Annabella.
There's a whole
So,
series.
Yeah, that's kind of our first us getting into film. And you can see Emma there. She's videoing
With an iPhone.
Yeah. So it was
Annie in
kind of
her
our
pirate
first
costume.
experience with film.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, and then this is us at our first 72-hour Gig Harbor Film Festivals. So that's where we really started to get super interested in it. The one on the left, that's the very first one we did, and we won Best Film and Best Actress. And then the next year we won, I think, Best Director and Best Actress.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. There's our movie poster, which shout out Annie. She drew all of the artwork for all of our merch, all of our everything in our documentary that's drawn is Annie.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Super talented.
Wow. It's beautiful.
Yep.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a photo I think off one of the videos that you saw. I think was that one of the Pen Cove captures, Emma?
Yeah, that was from the Peg capture. It was in the clip that we showed briefly. Then we've got just some stills from our documentary. We got Jason Colby and Raynell Morris. Yeah. Then the next one is some more people, Rick O'Berry, and then there's Howard Garrett, Lynn Berry, and Raynell Morris again. There's Rick when we saw him in Florida.
That's a great shot.
This is us at the Friday Harbor Film Festival. And there's us holding our award like a fish because it is a fish.
It's a really cool award by a local artist. Yeah.
Oh, there's Scott and Mary. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's at the Colorado Environmental Film Festival.
Mm-hmm. That was a really cool film festival. And then World Fest Houston, which was one of our most recent ones. And we got the Grand Remy, which was super exciting, which is their top award. And then I guess this is just kind of like some stuff we're doing now, us at protests and at some cleanups. South Sound Surf Rider is a local organization we've been doing some work with, and they are doing great things for the environment.
They do cleanups every month that the community can be a part of. So you should definitely check out their website to see, when their next cleanup is.
What's the name?
South Sound Surf Rider. I think their next one, it's like, it might be on Halloween, and it's a costume beach clean, which is really fun. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you guys so much again. I just I can't thank you enough for honoring Hugo, mostly, and for all the work that you're going to continue to do. So I really look forward to that. Howard, I will turn it over to you if there's anything you want to say in closing.
It's just really great to have you on TokiTV, Emma and Annie. I really appreciate you coming on board, and I do want to hear how the swims go. So keep me right up to date. I want to see pictures, texts. I want to hear your voice go, whoa, it's cold.
You'll hear a lot of that.
Well, now how creative is that? 100 days. So you're going to keep people's attention. It's not a one-time thing. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Every day.
Yeah.
Exciting. So looking forward to that. So really good to see you, and we'll be hearing about you, and hope to see you at the cantata too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be
We'd
there.
love to go. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us again. This was really, really great.
that was really fun. Deb Cruz, I was trying to unmute her, but she has muted herself. She's in control of her own voice, I guess, today. But see, that's what I wanted you to hear. I was gonna say we have to have 100 days of laughter with Deb Cruz. Like maybe we could do like our own campaign.
Right.
I get Deb Cruz to go do a plunge every day.
I'm gonna make Deb's laugh my ringtone. I am. I know.
We have to. We got to get like a solid recording and do that. Marcia, anything that you would like to say in closing?
Yeah, I just want to thank the girls again. I'm so grateful that you're shining light on this wonderful animal, Hugo. It's just brilliant. I cannot wait to see your film. And just on another note, this is completely off thing, but so there's 30 belugas at Marineland in Canada still there, and I've seen some sort of outrageous comments from the government saying, they're not going to send them to China, so they might be forced to euthanize these belugas, and that's outrageous. So I have an email address that, if you don't mind putting it up there, it's Joanne, JOANNE .Thompson at parl, PARL .gc.ca. And she's one of the higher ups in the government there that is a decision maker on what to do with these animals. And I believe that they can be put in some sort of sanctuary, maybe even temporary, and then they can be rewilded. They've been in that pod of 30, in captivity for a long time. I believe, and there's precedents with bottlenose dolphins, that they can learn how to hunt again. So euthanasia needs to be off the table. So if anyone has a moment to email this woman and just state your outrage at that concept, I think they deserve a future. They made a lot of money for Marineland, and Marineland should fork over the money to help these animals be rehomed or sanctuary or something. So I just wanted to put that out.
I didn't catch the address. Did you, Deb Cruz, by chance?
No, I only got Joanne.Toxin.
That's
Okay.
good. Marcia?
Joanne, JOANNE .Thompson at parl, PARL, as in Parliament, .gc.ca.
Dot what before CA?
GC, G is in George, C is in Charles, .ca is in Canada. She's, I don't know her title exactly, but she's high up in the Parliament. And I guess the person that is
that
sort of
correct?
making decisions. Yes, that's correct. So,
Okay, I had Toxin.
yeah,
All right.
let's explode her inbox, please.
Yeah, no, and we should. And, we've been talking about Jane Goodall a lot today, and I know she was big on sanctuaries and ending captivity. And she actually wrote a letter in support of the Whale Sanctuary Project in early 2020, 24 to try to get them to the two orcas entranced.
Yeah, Ricky and Kato, yeah. And I've been doing a lot of work at the Center for Great Apes here in Wauchula, Florida. And, you know, my last words, you know, humans have made a lot of mistakes, right? We've captured orcas and we've put animals through absolute hell. And we can't undo what we did, but we can try to make their lives as best as we can. And at this point, one woman started this sanctuary with one orangutan back in, you know, the 80s, and there's 80 apes at this place now, and they continue to build and bring in more animals. Some of them are from labs or basements or movie industry animals, and they've been through trauma. So it's doable. We can do this. You know, it really just takes will and money. So I think we can do this with cetaceans too. There's no reason why we can't.
Awesome. All right. Always work to do. There's always going to be work to do. Everyone has homework today, though. If you have Netflix and you haven't seen Famous Last Words, the final interview with Jane Goodall, please do. I'll play the trailer as we end. But it's worth watching. She talks about love and she talks about magic, and it takes all of it, right? But it's definitely worth watching, and you will cry, and that's okay because we're human. But it's a powerful interview, and like I said, it's only 55 minutes, so I encourage everybody to watch that. But Emma and Annie, thank you so much for being the future for us, and to carry on and sharing the story and the plight of the Southern residents. Thank you so much. Even if it is you guys jumping in cold water, and it's getting people's attention, and that matters. So thank you so much. All right, everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week.
This is a moment right now as people are watching this where maybe the biggest story in the world is that you've passed away. I think it'll be a global story. I think there'll be global mourning. And I think a lot of people will be talking about who you were. So who would you say you were?
I would say I was somebody sent to this world to try to give people hope in dark times, because without hope, we fall into apathy and do nothing. And in the dark times that we are living in now, if people don't have hope, we're doomed. And how can we bring little children into this dark world we've created and let them be surrounded by people who've given up? So even if this is the end of humanity as we know it, let's fight to the very end. Let's let the children know, that there is hope if they get together. And even if it becomes impossible for anybody, it's better to go on fighting to the end than just to give up and say, okay,